Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight. We now move on to the Spotlight segment, and today we're talking with Aadhar from Audivision. And Audivision used to be Audible Vision. We've had him back here like a little over 4 years ago, and it's totally like a total new app altogether. And I'm excited to have Aadhar here to talk about Audivision, or Audivision, Audivision. And really, it's just a great app. But Aadhar, let's talk about the app a little bit, because it's been a long time and a lot of our listeners probably didn't even get to hear this episode that we had with you like 4 years ago. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about the history and how we come about the change, and then we'll talk about the capabilities of this app.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me again. Yes, it has been quite a long time, 4 years, and a lot has changed in terms of the space, the needs of users, and so much accordingly. We have also changed the way the app behaves and what it is focusing now. So you're rightly pointing it out, and almost 4 years back it was launched, very much in this initial phase. And one of the feedbacks we used to always get about Audivision was it's fast, but it needs to be more accurate. So we heard that we were continuously working towards it. Yes, Audivision is a small team, and due to the limited resources, we took some time, but we have worked throughout the AI space completely in the offline mode, and which is not something which is very trivial. So we took some time, figuring that out in the right way. But finally, we are here, and I'm glad that you came across our app again, and we are having this conversation now. So just to give you a background, and for those who were not, obviously it's 4 years back. So just to jog the memory, the way Audivision came into picture, as you correctly mentioned earlier, it was named as Audible Vision, was because this is something was my brainchild, and myself having high myopia since childhood. It, I always, I'm always I was always scared about losing my spectacles, and how would that be? And it did happen during my school time. An incident happened where my spectacles got broken, and I was totally in shock, to be very honest. And that it was very difficult to do, to know what is going around, to know whom I'm talking to, my friends, because with my high myopia, I'm not able to even do the finger counting within a feet or so. So that actually incident engraved deep into my mind, and after that, obviously, fortunately, my vision is corrected because of the spectacles, although in spite of the high number of -10 and more. Uh, but but yes, that fear was always there, and also at the same time, the understanding was there that for those who are having even more severe vision impairment than what I am facing through, obviously life would be even more challenging. And with my technology career, gradually I started thinking, how can I contribute back to the community? How can I make things better for the community? And that's where Audivision struck me, and I started that as a side project during my work. I was working in a finance industry as a vice president, and this became my side project, weekend project. But gradually in 2022, around, I took a leap of faith, and I decided it is no more going to be a side project, and I want to completely dive into it. And that's how Audible Vision came into picture. Now we call it as Audivision with the rebranding. So this is a quick history about the application itself. And as I mentioned, being a technologist, I wanted to make sure that how can we bring the best of the technology so that it can assist in our friends in everyday life. And that's where we introduced a lot of features in Audivision, like color detection, then street information, QR, and so on and so forth. But we did a lot of trials during this last few years. And during those trials and having one-to-one conversation with the users, we got to know something very profound. We realized that although all these challenges are there when it comes to mobility and knowing the background, understanding the environment, the basic, if you want to bring a fundamental change to the whole situation, right? We do not want it to be continue as a, especially in, I don't know if you're aware, but especially in India and Asian countries and sub-African, usually all of the space is treated as a charity, and that CSRs come into picture. They will try and give some devices, some application licenses, etc. But all of this is not going to change much. And we realize after talking to users, unless and until we we try to address the basic core issue, and that is of education and employment. And that's when the whole Audivision app started to gear towards being a generic app. And obviously, those features are there, as I mentioned, but our now main focus is completely on document and physical and digital document accessibility. And that's where our work has been totally focused on. And we have developed a lot of AI models during this period, which will help improve user reading experience, whether is it physical documents or digital documents, and how can we make it all offline, uh, because as I mentioned, situations differ based on locations as well. So in Asia, in Africa, it's difficult to get access to internet. Okay, so our and at the same time, even in US and Western countries, there are situations where some of our users actually mentioned that they were on a cruise, and their regular app did not work out, because obviously those solutions require a cloud and internet functionality. But then the person was so happy, and she emailed us that, because of your app, it was working offline. That really helped me during my travel in the cruise where there was no network available. So there are situations which are going to be different for each and every individual, each and every location. But we want to make sure that during all those situations for all the users, we provide all the functionalities without need for internet at all. And that is not just about connectivity. It is not just about situation based, but it is also about user data privacy and safety. Because when we are going to send our data for any sort of cloud processing to the third parties, obviously there is a chance, because we are sending the data over the net. There is chance of of that being leaked, or that being snooped around by some malicious users, or such agents. So how can we completely shut it down? And that is by having all the functionality offline on device, so that all the data, that all the documents that users are going to scan, or they are going to view through their emails, are going to be absolutely safeguarded. So that was our focus area going forward. And uh, and that's where the whole change happened. And I will be glad to let you go through all those different features and capabilities that you have built one by one. But before I proceed, I will just take a pause, and if there are any thoughts, any queries, more than happy to answer.
It is very important. And to be honest with you, nowadays it's so hard to find apps that do things offline. And with privacy concerns, as you mentioned, has privacy concerns have become something very essential to people. Everyone is trying to harvest data and all of that, and so most oftentimes when someone's getting an app, the first concern is, does this thing harvest my data? And if it does it, most importantly, does it also share it with third party and all of that? And that's one of the concerns that we have as users. And it's a make it or break it for a lot of us. And to see that you guys have come along and do a lot of these things offline as a breath of fresh air to see that happening. I noticed that there are 11 different categories on here because, like I said, it's been a while I saw it or I used it, and I'm glad I got it again. And especially when you talked about places like Africa and other third world countries where internet connectivity is a problem, this is a savior indeed. And I'm so thankful that you guys put your work into this and making sure that the core of the app can be used offline, because that's what people want. I'm in a place where I don't have internet connectivity. I should be able to use something as common as trying to scan my document, or as common as just trying to identify something, for example. I want to talk about something that really I was very happy with. I haven't played with it much, but I'm planning to use it more. Is that document detection? Because prior till now, it didn't have that guidance. But I noticed now that in
Yeah.
the document mode, it actually guides one through, and it is so fast. It just blew me out of the water because I can't even find one that is close to this when it comes to speed of recognizing what's in there and letting me know it's ready to do it, and it just automatically does it just like the other ones do. So let's talk about that. How difficult was it for you guys to implement that? Because I know a lot of us are not especially aware, especially some of our blind people, and so that guidance detection is a very important key thing when it comes to scanning documents.
Right. Absolutely, that's a great point. To discuss about, Warren. And you're precise. The earlier versions missed this feature, and as I mentioned, with a lot of user trials, on the ground sessions, working with people, gathering their feedback was critical, and that has always guided us to build our features which are on priority. So, and this was one of the topmost. And as I said. It took us some time, but we wanted to make sure we do it the right way, because just giving something half baked is only going to hurt it further rather than or be of any benefit. So yes, we had to develop AI models for that. We have developed offline models. We have to see when we train this all this AI models, we have to make sure that they are going to be low in the size, because we want to give everything offline. If it would have been a cloud model, it would have been easy. You can have a 1 GB model and nobody cares because it's in cloud. Just a simple request goes by to the user of the user data, come back, and the model processes it correctly. And this was challenging for us because having a limited amount of memory to be utilized in the by the user mobile. And again, everybody is not going to have a high-end mobile as well. As we already know, we are talking about users from Asia, from Africa, where only budget phones are available. That means their processors are also limited in their capability. The GPU is in limited capability, and we wanted to ensure that these AI features do work, if not as fast as on the high-end devices, but at least to a acceptable level. And that took us some real time, because that requires data gathering, that requires hours of training of those models. But as you correctly mentioned, we were able to crack it finally, and with our latest release, we have released that feature. And as you correctly pointed out, that drastically changes the experience of document capture. And as I might just reiterate myself, but uh, as I said, mentioned earlier, that our total focus is now going to be on the physical document scanning as well as the digital document experience. That is going to be our focus area for upcoming years. And just to add to what you just mentioned, and especially now we are just talking about the document segment or the document tab. One of the important things, apart from the guidance that we have implemented, is the ability to capture the document in focus that the user wants with respect to the background clutter. Now, you might have experienced this even earlier, that you want to capture a document, but then again, there are various other documents besides it or beneath it, and we hold the document that we require on top of those other documents. And when we try to capture the document in of our interest, what happens is many times a lot of garbage is been collected by those background documents or the background books which are lying around. How do we deal with that? That was one of the key concerns that we saw, and we saw in the other solutions as well. It was just as bad as Audivision was working. So we wanted to do something about it, and so a lot of time has been spent on. Again, as I said, a lot of these are all AI features that are built. So we worked upon it, and now most of the times, 90% of the time, when you are trying to capture a document, even if there is any clutter around, even if there are other documents lying around in the background, our app focuses precisely on the required document, and it only gives you that data, and that cuts away a lot of junk results or output which comes from the applications. This happens when you are trying to scan a book, because in a book we are trying to scan a particular page, and when we are trying to do so, at that time the other page of that book is also getting partially captured in that camera view, and that because it's always very difficult to precisely, to focus as such that the other page is totally out of view from the camera. It is not possible. So we have also fixed that issue. Now when a user is going to scan the document of a or a book page, even if the other page is partially visible, that data is not going to be considered, and user will get a clean output from that page of their interest. So now these are the kind of user experience that we are working on to make it much easier and seamless for the users.
That's really brilliant, frankly. And I'm not, trying to flatter you guys, but I'm not sure that I know of, any of the apps that would do that, to be honest, because that's one of the problems. For example, you're trying to scan a book or maybe just a single page, and most especially if it's a paperback. We all know how
Right.
paperback books are. They usually don't open that well, and so it's a problem, and you wind up catching portions of the other page that you don't intend on catching the text from, and so you wind up with garbled stuff. And so I am really glad that you guys actually took that into consideration. And when you talk about the clutter, my friends here, my co-hosts, know that my desk is a mess. I want to
It
admit,
really is.
I
Yeah,
admit before everyone that, yeah, my desk is one of those cluttered desks, because I got papers and different books, and it's when I'm trying to scan something, I almost want to just go to a different place because there's so much clutter and on my desk. So
absolutely.
really
Yeah,
nice to see that,
yeah.
because I tried it and I was blown away, like I was saying. So I'm so thankful that you guys actually were putting this into consideration and come up
Uh,
with such a solution.
So it's all about the teamwork, and as I mentioned, we help each other, and it's always the end users who give the feedback, and that's how is Audivision is going to be shaped, and that's the way we are working. So it's a teamwork here, I believe, and that's how we are going to keep working towards other challenges as well. So yeah, and thanks for the kind words for it. Much appreciate that. So. So yeah, so before I move on to other features, any queries or thoughts about the document tab?
Yes, actually, first I want to thank you for coming today. Well, I have many questions, but if we
Sure.
are just
Yeah.
talking right now about the document reader, I'll ask my the related questions to document reader, and
Sure.
I'll keep the rest until we talk about the other features. Well,
Sure. Yes.
I just gave the app a quick test, and to be honest, I liked the document reader. I like I think you call it smart read feature, which is the instant text reading. Is it called smart read, or am I?
Yeah, that's the smart text is a different feature, and then the
That's a
document is
different
a different.
feature. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The smart text, which is actually a part of the OCR thing, but
Correct.
I noticed something, which is the text is read by the TTS engine. And I didn't find a way to read the text or to select which TTS engine that I want to use for reading. Actually, it's using Google TTS.
Yes,
But
correct.
the thing is, there is no way, at least my screen reader wasn't able to read the text. I mean, it was just exposed to the TTS engine through the app, but not it wasn't given to the screen reader to read. So is there a planned feature, for example, or is it possible to just make an option or to make it optional to read the text or the detected text through the screen reader directly without using the TTS engine? I mean, so in this way we can just use our screen reader directly.
Yeah.
This is my first. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
If you want to answer, yeah.
Yes, so we can actually do that. You can go to the settings, and there is a settings called as voice feedback. So if you basically within the app itself, so if you can just turn that off, voice feedback option, then basically the app is not going to use its own TTS to make any sort of announcements. So it will completely rely upon the phone's TTS engine, whichever you have chosen. And
That's
in
good.
future, yeah, and in future we are also going to plan to give options for in-app also, if they want to choose, if the users want to choose any other engine rather than the Google. So for example, for Samsung users, they would be able to do so, but that's something in plan, not right now. But for now, for your query, yes, we can keep it off from the settings, and that should ideally work. But do give it a try. If you face any challenges, do let us know.
Indeed, I'll give it a try. Well, the second question is related to first, is the document reading right now completely offline?
Yes.
Okay, so are you planning to add more languages? Actually, I saw many languages, but my language isn't included, which is Arabic. So is there a plan to add other languages?
So Arabic is just added recently. So what you can do is you can just update the application. The only thing we have to make sure is during the update, as soon as you got the update, just open the application. There is some initial online setup which is required, and without which the Arabic might not be appearing. So just ensure that the net is on during the initial update and initial opening of that application after the update, and you should be able to see Arabic as well. So we now support
Excuse me,
85 plus. Yeah.
What is it? What is it? The thing that should be
Yeah.
enabled?
So usually the app
You
works
want to make
without.
sure that the internet is available
Internet. Okay.
after
Yeah.
the
Okay.
update. And so, in
Yeah.
other
Okay.
words, when you install it, the updated version, and you go to the unpacking of the app, make sure you have internet access. So I'm thinking it has to download some of the components belonging to the language. So yeah, it does make sense.
Generally. Yeah.
My last question about this feature is about the future. I mean, is there a plan to include or to try to retain the formatting? For example, if there's a table included, will the app try to retain the format to read the table correctly and in other in other formats as well, like if there's a heading, if there is a link, whatever. So is it planned to try to retain the formatting as much as possible?
Yes. So that is something that we have in our pipeline, and to especially to keep the formatting at least to some extent, at least the headers, the paragraph, as you mentioned, the link. And in fact, Warren also gave a heads up regarding one of the suggestions that if we can highlight that this is a link and describe that link, that sort of features. And yes, so that are in pipeline. It will take a while, and I will be honest with you, it will take a few months to be there to have those improvements in place. But yes, they are certainly in our focus, and we are working towards it. Similarly, I also want to be quite upfront that being an offline application, we also are going to hit some limitations in terms of our AI capabilities, the processing power that is required, because some of these features require so much amount of depth of learning and training for those models that it is almost sometimes impossible for them to work on our mobile applications. So we are going to in some features, in some areas, we are going to hit that limit, no doubt. But we are going to try our best to at least give some version of it, if not as good as the cloud folks, but at least some sort of improvement over what is there right now. So, for example, even right now, just to talk about as I said, we have to just be open with each other and be upfront about it. So, the handwriting text, right? So it works better in some languages, especially in the Latin or otherwise, but still it is going to struggle, especially in Arabic, right? So these are some of the challenges we are going to continue to face when we are talking about offline, completely processing. But yes, we are going to continue to work on it, and we will try our best to improve the accuracies or bring such sort of new features in terms of formatting and link descriptions and so on and so forth. That will be our priority. We will be working towards it.
Thank you very much for now. There will be other questions.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Aadhar,
Okay.
let's talk
Yeah.
about the files, because that's the third tab is the files. Now,
Good.
I haven't had the time to play with that tab, but does that refer to the files that I have captured, or if I am in that tab, would I be able to, for example, say import an existing file? Say I have a document I want to import. Could I import a document, or actually this is not what is intended for?
Right. So yes. So files is one of the another major feature changes that we have brought in, and earlier we only had the import functionality in that tab. Basically, you could import an image, photo, or you can import PDF, TXT files to read those. But now it is totally restructured. Now that those functionalities stay as they are even right now, but more it acts more than that. That acts as your window of recent files that you have viewed over the past few hours, few days. It depends. So for example, if you have opened an image in the morning or through the shared intent, let's say you have shared through the WhatsApp, and you open that image through the Audivision. Now that result will be now stored into this recent files tab. So and the naming is also quite intuitive, where it will be written as, say, for example, photo and then the file name. And below that, you will see a short description of that file, the actual content of that file, and when it was accessed, whether it was accessed yesterday, it was accessed today at 10 a.m., so on and so forth. So what it gives is a snapshot of that file quickly there, ready for your accessibility. So that let's say you have opened a document or an image in the morning, and for whatever reason you're talking through it, or you want to refer that back. Now you don't need to go back to WhatsApp or that application, search through that particular conversation, go to that particular document and do again share. No, you just go to the recent file in this files tab, and you will see that entry somewhere down the line, and that will also have the description of that file, what was the content of it, when you had accessed it. So it gives all the required pointers to know is that the possible file that I'm looking for within a quick amount of time? And if yes, you just tap on it and it will start reading the whole document for you. So that's a very critical feature update that we have provided. And in addition to the photos and PDF and TXT, now we also support the docx file, which can be opened and read through it. So within Files tab, there is a section called a Recent Files, which will give you all this information, list of files that you have accessed recently. And besides it, there is a Exported Files tab. Now that is another way of our feature to make things easy. As I said, everything is now going to be focused on making user experience easy, seamless to access data. And now, so earlier also we used to give feature of export, and we used to store that into documents folder of your mobile phone into the Audivision folder. And right now also that is happening. But in addition to that, rather than expecting the user to go to the files and folders and go to Audivision document and then search for that particular exported document, you do it right now from the application itself. You just go to the exported files tab, and similar to the recent file, you will see the file name. You will see the description of it, when it was created, and you can quickly just tap and open it. And similarly, it will also, the recent file, exported files can also now store your scanned document. So for example, you scanned a document in the morning, you read that document, and let's say you forgot to export it, but you don't need to worry now, because in recents, if it isn't recent enough, and there is some limit to that recent list, I guess it's around 10 files or so, and with the premium application it is 25 or so. But if it is in recent, you don't need to rescan that document. And now you can actually, now that you remember that you will require access to that document again and again, you can just export it, and it will be always available in your exported tab at your disposal. In addition, you can now export the results also from smart text, right? So because earlier, the intent of smart text or instant text is basically just fire and forget, right? But for whatever reason, while you're out, or you have scanned some document quickly to smart text, and if you decide that you want to access that information later, in your results page, you just export it. And now again, you will clearly see that line item mentioned as smart text result, the content of that result, and at what time it was created. So accessing your recent activities is now at your fingertips.
Beautiful. So that doubles as a history as well. So if I've captured some stuff, I could go to that file section, and there I could see like whether the recent recent contents that I had would be
Right.
there, and stuff like that. That
Correct.
totally makes sense. Let's talk about the voice command. It has a voice command feature. Take some time to talk to us about this voice command. What does it do?
All right. So the voice command. So in most of the cases, we have noticed that the users don't really rely upon voice commands much, because obviously the talkback UI and interface is very polished. Users are already very comfortable using that. But there are situations where some of the users, or the early users who are adapting to the technology, they are still getting used to the talkback features and the way to access the various UI elements. And for them, yet having a voice command as an optional, interface or input mechanism helps them. And that's where that comes quite handy. Where, for example, while you want to switch from documents to smart tab or so, you can just tap on the voice command, and you just say document, and it will switch over from smart text to document. But it also is useful, especially when you are in the Find tab, because in the Find tab, particularly, a user needs to input a data. So Find tab is all about finding a particular text in the real world, or in a document. So, for example, you are at a mall and you want to let's say, find an exit, or you want to find a men's toilet, or you want to find, let's say, Adidas as a brand shop where it is located. So you will have to enter, either type it out, what is the word or phrase that you're looking for, or alternatively, now you can just tap on the voice command and say find exit, and the application will move the focus directly to the find tab, and it will start searching for that particular exit word. And as soon as you are moving around the camera across, and the moment it notices it, it will start beeping, and it will notify you that, in the direction which you are holding the mobile camera, that's where the exit seems to be found in the direction. So this is the this is the kind of an alternative user interface for some of the users who want to use it. It's just optional, need basis. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So, in other words, what this voice command does is that instead of trying to find a given or desired tab at the bottom, for example,
Right.
I know some people like to swipe, some of us just want to explore. So, if I want to go to, say, I want to go to the find or the explore, I think there's another one in there that I'm forgetting, which is
Yeah.
important. For
Yeah.
example, so I could just say maybe find text, for example, and it will find the text that I'm after. Or if I just want to say uh, find furniture or find desk, for example,
Correct.
instead of me trying to go find that uh, tab and switch to that tab, it will automatically focus, enable that tab for me. So that's what the voice command does. Am I
Yes.
understanding it correctly?
That's perfectly right. And and see, as I mentioned, for other tabs, it might just act as a navigator, that instead of you swiping here and there, that you do directly going to that particular tab. But for Find, it is much more smarter, because even if you are on a smart tab and you just say, find exit or find Nike, at that moment it will go to Find. It will automatically start finding the word Nike for you, and so it is much less clicks and no data entry, and you're straight out, it's doing the business. It's getting to the work immediately.
Let's talk about the street info. I noticed there's a tab there toward the right. As I indicated earlier, there are like 11 tabs in all that I see. Let's talk about the street info. What does street info do?
Right. So the street info is our attempt to give our users uh, a window of opportunity to know what is the surroundings like. It is not about like a explore tab. It's there, right? It's in all the applications, which object is around, whether it is a cup or something, etc., etc. That's a given stuff. But this is different. This is focused on trying to make our users aware that if they are traveling alone, or if they're traveling in a unfamiliar situations, how can they get to know about their environments? How that is it a lonely street, or is it a well lit street, or it's too dark of an alley out there? How do we know that? So this tab focuses on that sort of information, where, for example, just to give an example, it will speak out wherever we are pointing your camera, and if it will try to find out how many people are there around. Is that a crowded location, or it is a quite a deserted location? Nobody's around, not a single person is in that location. So that is the kind of information that it gives. So it will say that two people detected and seems medium lit. So basically it tells you that, okay, there are a couple of folks around, seems to be a lit area decently. Or maybe if you are going at night, and it might just say, okay, no person detected, seems pitch dark. So basically it means that it might be potentially a deserted area, or quite lonely area, and then user can choose, depending upon their familiarity of the location of that particular area. They might decide, okay, I want to go ahead, or maybe I just want to turn around and go through some other route. So that's the attempt that we have made here through the street info.
Yeah, it's a feature that I wanted to try out, but it got so cold, and
Exactly.
so shame
Yes.
on me. I wasn't
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
go out and try that. And so it's one of those features that I was looking forward to checking out, besides the document and instant text
Right.
features that I was trying. But I was dying to see what the street info was going to do. And now that you've explained it, I think after we're done with the recording today, I think we're getting a better weather today. The sun is coming out. It's going to be like 32
Fantastic.
or whatever degrees, but at least the sunshine is going to be out. So I'm going to go now, go to the street corner and try to ask about the street info, see what I get. But so I'm so
Of
thankful.
course.
Yeah.
Yes, that certainly do let me know. I mean, what did it tell you, and was it good enough?
I'll definitely let you know what I find out, because I'm going to ask it, hey, is this a street? Does it go through? Or what's around this street? Or
Yes.
things like that. Just give me information about the street. So,
Right. So,
yeah.
Warren, it is not going to give you information about the street itself. As I said, it is really about basically it will give you information about from a safety perspective. You can get this from that perspective, that are there people around, is the how is the lighting of that street, and that just helps
Okay.
you get that little bit information when you're traveling alone or to unfamiliar locations, that is it safe enough to travel through that alley or through that street, or is it better that that I just take a U-turn and I better go off from the long route. It seems to be better lit there. Yeah, so that's a very small limited information, but and again, that's the reason I know that this is not going to be because usually we are going to familiar places. It's our
Yeah,
regular day-to-day commute, and that is not the place where street info is going to add any value. It is
that's
going
right.
to add value, especially for the travelers, lone travelers, driving through airports, going to hotels, or while you're just one day, as you said, right? It's quite chilly, sun is not out, and you are aware that that location, that neighborhood might be a little bit sketchy. So you can that this might just be this added info that you might just want at that moment.
I got it. It makes
Yeah.
sense now. It makes
But
sense.
certainly we are going to add, because what you mentioned is something that we have in pipeline. We are also going to try and see how to make use of the current location info, get it there for the users apart from these this data points that we are providing right now, because a lot of users have even asked us that they want reminders. For example, when they are reaching out to they are doing a commute, sometimes they forget the particular station or so, and they want some sort of assist, and some sort of indicator that that this station is about to come by, some rough estimate, not precise, but yes, this is something we are working on, and we will certainly be adding that to the street info.
So I have also a bunch of questions and a
Sure.
suggestion. The first one related to the suggestion is related to the street info. Well, currently, I think it's slightly misleading. I mean, the name of the feature, because when I saw the feature, I thought that it could be something related to the road or to the street.
Oh, I
But
see.
it's
Okay.
just when I tested it, and now you confirmed my findings, it's just telling me the lighting condition and the number of people that the camera is able to detect. So I suggest that, at least for now, to change it to something maybe about my surroundings, maybe about lighting. I don't know, something which is not related to streets, because actually it's I mean, it could be useful also if you're not on a street. So it's not
Right.
particularly related to streets. So this is just a suggestion.
No, fair suggestion. And we picked each other's brain a lot on this. We did a lot of brainstorming, and we were just we're not getting the right term for that, because although our intent was to begin with, it was about any unfamiliar locations. But then again, yeah, what you mentioned is right. It can easily confuse users, and like even for as Warren mentioned, right? He thought that he will go out and he will check what is the street and what is the street name
Yeah.
possibly also, right? Yeah. So it is very easy to mislead with that
Yes.
particular tag. So we'll certainly think about it till the point we don't add those features. Actually, we might need to put up some better names. So feel free to suggest us if you feel any other names. We are open to the ideas.
Great. Actually, I have now some questions. I know I'm asking a lot today because actually the app has potential. And one of the questions is related to the Find tab. So I tried it without putting earphones. So I guess that if you put earphones, you can know the direction through the direction of the sound. So if it comes from the right side, it's to the right. Is it correct?
That's correct. So the moment you found a particular word or phrase of your interest, and obviously you're holding the phone towards that direction, and hence it will start beeping. That the beeping sound will start coming. And it will get stronger and stronger if you are in that correct direction. So that automatically also tells you what is your interested object, subject, and the direction of it.
Yeah, but does it change the direction according to the direction of the subject?
So ideally now, we are talking about the subject that is usually stationary subject, right? I mean, you are trying to find a exit, entry, some particular shop name, correct? So that will be in a specific direction with reference to you. So for example, if you are on the left side of that shop, you will start seeing the beep when you hold the mobile on the right side towards that shop. If you are on the right side of the shop, you have to hold your mobile on the left side for it to start detecting. So automatically, based on your position and the beeping sound, you know what is the direction towards which you have to move forward.
Okay, but that's great actually. But the thing is, if I'm not putting earphones, this would be like hard to know. So is there a plan, for example, to add like directions, or to add directions through text, for example, to tell you the subject is to like at the right side of the view or whatever. So is there a plan about this?
You mean got it? You are saying that that feedback also needs to be visible on the UI rather than just the audible sound of it. Okay.
Yeah, true.
Correct. Understood. So right now the visual feedback is basically toast. So immediately we start showing pop-up, the toast also starts coming up that the text is found, sort of it. But yes, we can certainly consider that as a possible enhancement where we can have more prominent output coming up, and rather than just a small toast which comes and goes away. We can potentially that's a good suggestion. We will certainly add that to our pipeline.
That's perfect. Well, I'll finish with two questions and I'll be done for today. Actually, thank you. Well, I want to ask about the voice input, which you were talking about before. I'm a person who doesn't at all use, or doesn't at all plan to use voice input, for example. But I noticed that the app keeps asking me for the permission whenever I open the app. So is it possible, please, to, if a user doesn't want at all to use the permission, if I don't grant this permission, just for the app to ignore it. And it asks me again about it whenever I try to ask a question using voice input, then it can tell me that, okay, you haven't granted the permission, so you can't use it. You have to grant the permission first. So is it possible, please, to do this?
Yeah. So basically, I understand where you're coming from, and that voice command, because as I precisely mentioned also, right, that this is usually an optional feature. Most of the users are actually quite comfortable with the talkback, and as such, they don't even need it, except for the fine. So Okay, we have so right now that is not there. It is not optional. We just we do a blanket ask for all the required permissions because we are not sure whether the user is intentionally denying it or it is it is happened by accident. So, but maybe we can think of it of maybe asking for 2 to 3 times, and after that it will stop asking. Maybe something of that sort. If we will try to certainly have that so that it doesn't flag again and again. Noted.
Well, that would be much better, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, well, actually, the last thing is related to the Find tab. So you said before that you are not, or there are limitations, especially
Yes.
that you don't want, for example, to make the file size or the file size of the app very much like a large, to make it a large app. So what about the features that usually don't work? I mean, one feature which doesn't work, not only in this app, actually, it didn't work well with any other app that I've tested before, which is the Explore tab. The problem with the Explore tab is these offline models that are used usually don't give at all accurate results. So usually, I personally find them useless, completely useless.
Yes.
So, for example, it could say that there is an airplane at my house. So actually, it doesn't work at all as it should. So, and also it doesn't give me, for example, directions, or okay, it says they're like furniture, person, whatever, but there's nothing, I mean, related to the position or related, or there's no context at all. So especially that we are talking about an offline feature, which is just telling me the items that the camera is able to see. So at least until there's a better model, I mean, what's the point of keeping such feature which ain't able to perform what it should do? So I mean, are you planning, for example, to just get rid of the feature and maybe to give this space to other useful stuff?
Yes, and that is a very important observation and a very honest one as well. Because a lot of users were see the only reason why we are keeping it, irrespective of the fact that we also know that it is not the one of the most accurate things or something we are proud about. So, but what is happening is even right now the early stage users who are just starting to get into technology and they are starting to use technology for their mobility. For those users who are not that advanced, for them even this basic information does some sort of value add to them, and especially that applies to, as I said, the African, the Indian, and the Asian continents, where many people are from remote towns, villages. Education is a problem nowadays because of the technology boom. They are somehow able to get access to some mobile or through some CSR grants, etc., and they are just learning to get used to technology. And for that kind of a segment, even if it is not very accurate, that proves to be some sort of value addition to them, and that is the only reason we are not removing it. And I'm pretty much sure that is the same possible reason why other apps are also not willing to remove it, although we all know that this is not the best of the features that we could have provided. And there are limitations, as you correctly mentioned, because of that very practical limitations of the models. We are not able to provide any better accuracy than what is currently there. And continuously users and those advanced users like yourself, and the team here, for them this is too rudimentary, too elementary, and as good as of no use, and which we completely understand. So rather than completely removing it, we are actually working towards a thought of enabling or disabling some of the tabs which the user don't want.
Or
Again, as
maybe
yeah, to make it invisible basically. So only first few, or to reorder that, something of that sort. But again, that is going to take some time for us to build that capability.
Well, exactly that. I was going to tell you that the app seemed too convoluted for me when I installed it for the first time. It's too much for a non-tech
Yes,
savvy user, and
correct.
there are a lot of options, a lot of tabs. Maybe there should be sort of like a customization option where
Correct.
people can eliminate the features they don't need at all.
Yes, and that was the thought that we were having through, and to have that reordering of the tabs, because that is something we wanted to give in customization. That if somebody is not using smart text at all for whatever reason, which is unlikely, but still they can just put it, somewhere at the back and bring the light feature or the street info feature or any other feature at the front. But the challenge we face is that itself is making the whole UI so much complex, because the whole ordering thing, you will need to go to settings that will now pop into completely different screen, and on that screen now you have to reorder in some fashion. Either you give up and down buttons, multiple things sort of. So so to make life easy, we are also going to complicate your life. So that is something we were brainstorming upon, and what can be done. So we are still open to the thoughts whether ordering is something that users will prefer, or rather just simply doing an invisible thing, that you just see a list of tabs and you just disable those, and those that are disabled won't pop up on your screen, something of that sort. Most likely we are going on that route in future. But yes, we hear you. Yeah. And at the same time, we want to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, for me as a user, I love having the apps as simple as they can.
Right.
Yeah, it's good to have so many functions over there. Like you don't know what one needs that feature and one doesn't need it, but still, simplicity is best.
Yes, I agree. And yes, we will have that in place. And as I said, most likely a simple enable and disable, and that basically make it visible or invisible from the screen.
So, is the app going to be free for how long?
So it is free since its inception. I mean, the basic features. I mean, all of the features, to be upfront. I mean, all the features are free to use. The only thing that we are limiting right now is auto language detection. Auto language again is supported for almost all of the languages, not all, but almost 60 plus languages we are supporting the auto language detection. Uh, that feature is only enabled if for the premium users, and but rest all the features, all the tabs, they are completely free to use. Only other limitation that comes up is during the exports. So there is
Mhm.
some daily limit on the export, that if you really want to export too many times, then basically we prompt for the premium. But otherwise, for a regular user, the app is as good as whatever they need, they already have it.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to talk about something you guys already mentioned, you and Sally, and that's those tabs at the bottom. I think the idea to hide or disable to not show is really good. So, for example, if I don't want to see the street info, I could long press on it and it should pop up, hide or whatever. So, I think, yeah, that's a good idea to do that
Yeah.
for someone who doesn't want to see those tabs. And then you can always go back into the settings to re-enable it if you want it to come back. But I do want to ask about OS compatibility. What's the minimum OS for the compatibility of this app?
So the minimum compatibility is Android SDK 24. So let me just quickly check what that basically.
24, I think that 9 or 10? It's one of those two, isn't it? Or is
Yeah,
it
no,
another?
yeah, it's 7 actually, but yeah,
Oh, 7,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yes,
not too bad. Because I was kind of wondering about that, because you still find people with older Android devices with either Android Nougat or Oreo, for example. So if you guys are able to go back that far, I think that's a very good coverage.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody with a 10-year-old phone is going to have any battery left, to be honest, to even be using an app like this.
Yeah, and it will be very, and we do test it even for the older phones, but not that old anyways. But it struggles because the older phones, they are going to be, capping their limit on the processor, the GPU, the memory, and this sort of applications do require some sort of decent, at least 3 to 4 years, 5 years back maximum sort of phones. If you go beyond that, it is going to struggle.
So I'm sorry, guys, but I have additional questions.
Go for it, Karen.
Oh,
Well,
Kareem.
Yeah, today is my day.
Yeah.
And
Please go
so I have a question. Actually, there's a tab that I forgot about, and now I was checking something on the app, so I came across it, and I said I have to ask about it, which is the Dates tab. So to be honest, I tried it once. It didn't work for me. But can you please tell us how does it work?
So, see again, that is very experimental in nature. But what we are attempting to do here is to identify sort of available dates on a product, especially. So if you hold it around, one half a feet across, and if you focus on the dates tab, ideally it will spill out both the dates. If let's say there is a manufacturing date, if it's the expiry date, it will spill out both the dates, and that give you some sort of indication that potentially, okay, the expiry date seems to be XYZ. But again, and we acknowledge that it is not very accurate yet. And again, we have to really go into AI, work to get it more accurate, and that will take some time. So for now, we are just we do not want to have anything that is not accurate, right? So we do not want to specifically. It was earlier known as expiry date detection, and we used to only spit out one date out of it instead of two or so. So rather than doing that, now we just say that we will find out the potentially what are the dates available. And obviously, you have to rely on the human agent if you're really looking for an expiry date also, because that is not going to be accurate. But it gives you some sort of estimation, or at least it will start beeping where you will see, you will hear that, oh no, okay, this is potentially the side of the product which has an expiry date potentially. So let me use some other feature or even some other app like a ChatGPT to get more accurate data out of that site. So that acts as your assist there to know the date section. So that is what it is geared towards now.
Yeah, it's actually challenging to find the date. So especially when you have a lot of text, and sometimes it's just like fine print. It's not easy at all to find the information. Right. So it's a great. It's a great attempt. I think it's good to try this. Yeah. And actually, the last thing, or let me say two things, and really, I will be done. Just one suggestion, or actually, I'll start with a question, which is related to I found out that there is something called silver and there's something called gold with respect to the subscription plans. So what's the difference, please, between the two?
So the main difference is about the limit on the exports. So with the silver, obviously the pricing is also much less compared to the gold, because the intent is the silver is for heavy users. I mean, for regular users, as I said, these limits don't even really matter. I mean, you will be able to flawlessly use the application as if it is all premium. But only if you are a very heavy user, you do a lot of exports there to some decent, extent, then the silver will suffice. And if there are some, professionals as well, so it's not only. So, for example, the export feature in itself are also used by sighted users, and they are quite professional. They want to convert the non-editable PDFs text into editable PDFs. So for such users, particularly which are using for corporate work or so, for business purposes, we want them to appropriately being charged. So that's the gold subscription. So it's really the difference between the amount of exports you can do. That's it. Nothing else about that. But for
Makes
most
sense.
users, as I said, silver, the basic itself will suffice, and that is free. Worst case, the silver, that should be more than enough.
Makes total sense. Well, actually, the last thing is just a suggestion, quick suggestion.
Sure.
In the light tab, it's now using beeps to tell you or to indicate the strength of lighting. So is there or can you just also add the ability to announce the light measurement via text? So it tells you, for example, this is the lighting condition in the place that you are in.
Got it. Yes, we will certainly add that. That placeholder is already there, but again, the whole essence for light was really that audible difference in the frequencies, which was more easier. So we did not added any visual clues, but it is very similar as to what you asked for. Fine, and we will certainly make those changes.
No, thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Aadhar. And to be honest, this is so informative. Informative. You've kind of spent a lot of your night here with us. It's very late in India, and I'm so thankful that you're actually staying awake. Maybe it's like midnight there or whatever.
Yeah, it's almost midnight, but it's always a pleasure to be
oh
here and talk to you all. So.
Yes, and I'm glad you guys talked about that date feature, because it was called the expiry date, and I remember I demonstrated the app, and I'm glad. This is why we have to demo some of these apps, because a lot has changed, especially with this app. A lot has changed so much that the old one doesn't seem that similar. But again, we want to thank you so much for coming. And don't forget, next week, if you're going to be able to, we have our just a general session, open listener session and developer session, where we have other listeners come in, and people would be able to ask questions and all of that. But so if you're able to, that would be great. But I know this has been very long, and we want to thank you so much for finding the time to come on. How do people get hold of you? Could they just contact you from the app directly, or could they just go to the Play page and find a contact? Which way would people get hold of you?
So we have the email in the app itself, where users can directly contact us, and also we also have a Telegram group for Audivision, and that's where we have around 25 folks there, and that's where a lot of suggestions come by, like Karen, you mentioned, and Sahil, you mentioned that where there are various things that we can improve. Some might take a lot of time to be there in place. Some might be quite quick within a few weeks or a month. So and that's the kind of a group where we because Arabic was something that came through that group, and a lot of users. I mean, almost from a user was asking us from almost 2 years continuously, used to follow up with us that, hey, Aadhar, when are you going to add that update? We need the Arabic and the Turkish and some of the Urdu languages out there, and we were struggling because we were not able to add the Indian languages as well, like Tamil and Telugu, etc. But now with our updates, through such feedbacks, we know that what is important for a lot of users, and that needs to be prioritized, and that's how we shape up the products. So yes, so certainly you guys can contact me through the email, through the Telegram, and I will be able to respond quite quickly. And again, Warren and team, thank you for inviting me here. It is always very insightful, and also very honestly have that candid, open dialogue with you all. I really enjoy that. So much appreciate for having me here.
Thank you so much again, and you have a good night. And we want to thank you as a crew. We are so thankful that you came on to talk with us.
Certainly, a pleasure. Thank you to all of you as well, and for the great suggestions and the queries and the questions. Much appreciated.
It was great to meet you. I wasn't here last time.
Thank you so much for
yes, certainly. It is certainly great to catch up with you all. Yeah, thank you again. Have a great weekend ahead. Bye bye.